as they can. But again, my name is Sonja. I am a career advisor here at SNHU. I actually do work with the students who are in the criminal justice program typically, but I wanted to invite accounting students as well, accounting and finance and business students as well, because this is an area of interest that you may want to pursue going forward. So definitely wanted to talk to you about that, do some differentiators on between AML, and we're just going to touch on forensic accounting just to differentiate what the AML function is, okay? So let's go right into it. Our learning objectives will be to talk about what is AML, anti-money laundering careers, differentiating that from forensic accounting, the desired skills that they're looking for, the career paths that you could potentially take with this, and also industries who employ AML professionals, and then professional associations and resources. And of course, resources are going to include LinkedIn. So we'll look at that a little bit closer. I want to let you guys know that we have a wonderful career services team here at SNHU, and each of us do specialize in different areas. So I'm sure that you've probably interfaced with your own career advisor at some point, but if you haven't, please feel free to reach out to us if you want to get any follow-up information from tonight's presentation, or if you need assistance with everything from your resume, cover letter, mock interviewing, and our ready to refer process, which involves us assisting you with your job search. We have a business development team who works with us collaboratively as career advisors. Once we get to know you guys and we have helped you out in terms of developing your professional documents and really gone through with you hand in hand the job search process, and you know exactly what it is that you're looking to do, we can work with you and put you in contact with our business development partners who will reach out to employers on your behalf, kind of like a staffing agency if you think of it that way. However, we don't charge you any fees and we don't charge the employers any fees. We really just want to make sure that we're connecting you with the employers that can help you to succeed in your career, and that is our goal here at SNHU. So do not hesitate to call us or reach out to us if you have any questions or if you need hands-on assistance. We are here to support you individually, okay? Tonight's presentation obviously is going to be done in 1 hour, so we're going to go ahead and try to put as much information into this process as possible, but just keep in mind this is an hour presentation. So definitely follow up with us if you need any one-on-one assistance or if it's gone too fast, okay? That way we can slow it down and really meet you where you are and then help you move forward from there with any of the strategies that I present this evening. All right, so you guys may or may not have seen this movie, The Accountant. Let me see in the chat box. Has anybody seen this movie? The Accountant? No, okay. Yes, not yet. Okay, we can't have any spoilers in there. All right. So some of you have and some of you haven't. I have an app for HBO, so it's on the HBO app if you guys are interested, if you have that. But this career is not going to be as exciting, or as fast paced as this movie that Ben Affleck is in. But it is an exciting career if you have the passion for it. And so it definitely is something that if you are passionate about troubleshooting and finding problems, then you're going to really enjoy this. Many of you are a part of the webinar last week on forensic accounting, and this week we'll be looking directly at AML compliance careers, AML being anti-money laundering as a separate career path. We'll take a moment to differentiate the two, and it won't be as exciting as this movie, but I'll try to make it as engaging as possible. Also, I'd like to acknowledge that there are criminal justice students in attendance as well. So to you, welcome and stay tuned, because the career does not require an accounting degree. Your CJ degree and additional skills and certifications will prepare you for a career in this investigative field. So according to the AIC, which is the International Compliance Association, money laundering is the generic term used to describe the process by which criminals disguise the original ownership and control of the proceeds of criminal conduct by making such proceeds appear to have derived from a legal and a legitimate source. So obviously, if they're doing something illegitimate, then they may have another business to cover up the financials or to move the money through that legitimate business. Um, Also, the process by which criminally derived property may be laundered are excessive through criminal money. Though criminal money may be successfully laundered without the assistance of the financial sector, the reality is that hundreds of billions of dollars of criminally derived money is laundered through financial institutions. That's billions with a B annually. That's crazy. The nature of the services and products offered by the financial services industry, namely managing, controlling, and possessing money and property belonging to others, means that it is vulnerable to abuse by money launderers. Okay, so that's where this is derived. And so, what is AML? Anti-money laundering. It's detection and prevention of this type of crime. Money laundering, payment systems frauds, counterterrorism financing, and things of that nature. So that's what it's looking to counteract. Careers in money laundering, if joining the fight against financial crime and corruption appeals to your sense of purpose, and consider a career as a AML professional if you really are interested in making a difference in the community at large. Careers in money. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I can't talk. The quickest way to get your feet wet in this type of financial crime area is through certifications. Many of you are working in field. Some of you are not working in field. Some of you are not working at all. So depending on where you are in terms of your level of experience, you may be able to go into an analyst role as a entry level role. However, if you've already been working in accounting and you've already been in some type of compliance role, then it will be easier for you to go into another level. So we'll look at levels in a moment, but this is a great career if you're interested in detecting that. So let's look at the differentiators between AML and forensic accounting. So I won't recap the whole thing that you guys saw last week. You've already heard all of that. But AML does not require just an accounting degree, so a bachelor's degree at least, criminal justice, accounting, finance, business administration, etc. And then forensic accounting is going to be a specialized degree. Of course, you have to be in forensic accounting, finance, or related field for a forensic accountant. Additional education in criminal justice or law enforcement is a plus. So if you get maybe some type of certification in criminal justice, that can definitely help you. Many companies encourage obtaining a certified fraud examiner, which is the CFE or CPA, or even a CA for forensic accountants. Also, for forensic accounting, you guys are going to focus on situations where litigation is involved, right? So you guys are going to be called as expert witnesses during a trial. You're also going to perform intense financial analysis of corporate and personal data to develop criminal profiles of individuals or even groups who may be engaging in illegal or suspicious activities. And finally, you guys will either act as investigators themselves or perform due diligence of other professionals to ensure everything was done properly. And so those other professionals could include those compliance people on the side of AML. So AML professionals do not need an accounting degree, as mentioned. They investigate patterns of suspicious behaviors in account activities. So they're looking at things from a macro view, whereas the forensic accounting is looking at things from a micro point of view. They're looking at specific financial statements. They're following that money. They're determining those things, and then they're giving that testimony to a jury or to a judge in a way that is going to be in a layman's term so that people will be able to understand and follow the money, so to speak. Um, what type of industries hire people who are in AML? Well, banks, casinos, money service businesses, mortgage lenders, brokers, dealers, consulting firms, and insurance companies, stock traders, external vendors such as alternative financial institutions. Because money laundering often involves transactions through one or more financial institutions are a prime target for anti-money laundering laws and regulations. But It is evident from a quick glance at AML's two major regulations, which are, you guys have probably heard of BSA, which is the Bank Secrecy Act, one, and the U.S. Patriot Act, two, that other industries, such as these, also have strict AML compliance expectations. So, for those of you who are looking at AML, don't just look at financial institutions, but you can also look at these other types of institutions and companies for employment opportunities. Okay. While federal banking regulations are certainly interested in AML compliance programs of institutions for which they have oversight, these other industries also require that they adhere to AML program compliances. Consider working for a casino, a money service business, or any of these other types of organizations if you're looking. So you don't want to rule yourself out or even limit what you're able to do. You want to broaden your job search because the more that you broaden that based upon industry, the higher the probability that you'll be able to find something in your area that you're qualified to go for. Okay. So, career paths. Um, these terms are comprised of the following roles. Okay, so we're going to look at these paths. These paths also represent the progression of one's career in an AML role. So, as we look at this, let's look at it both ways. Now, I recently spoke with Christopher Guerra, who is a senior manager, law enforcement liaison of compliance and global AML fraud prevention investigation for Blackhawk Network. And so, we were talking about what does that particular career look like? How does one progress in AML? And so that entry level role is an analyst role. And this person in an analyst role, they're going to be reviewing information. They're going to reach out to customers. They're going to ask questions. They're going to be performing account analysis. And then they'll escalate any fraud that they detect to an investigator. Okay, so that would be their next progression as a professional once they get out of that entry level analyst role. So once they escalate it to the investigator, once they get into that investigator role, then that investigator is now going to take that analyst report and they're going to go deeper into the 314 sharing to validate if other financial institutions see the same fraud activity going on. And then they will escalate that to the quality control group. Okay, so again, as I'm going through each of these, this is the progression in someone's career path. If they start off as an AML analyst, they go to that investigator role and then they go to the quality role. All right, so the quality role is really going to be that final determination to see if law enforcement needs to really get involved. So they're going to go a step further. So many of you who may have been in a or looking at forensic accounting, for example, and maybe you've been working in your field for a while as an accountant, you might actually be able to go into a quality control role simply because you have the experience. But for someone who is new, they may have to start at the analyst role and then work their way up through that. Okay. From there, quality control, it will get know your customer involved. So that basically is just escalating things to the next level as well. So the people who are in quality control now move into the know your customer role, and then they can jump over to BSA or AML compliance specifically. So this is how one can grow their career. And then finally, AML policy. And at that point, you're really a high level officer. You might be in some type of the officer role, compliance officer. And it's really high level where you're dealing with policy specifically, any changes in policy and legislation and regulation and things of that nature. So this is one way that you can grow your career within the realm of AML. So I know that many of you are probably thinking, maybe some of you are not, but especially for those of you who are working out of field or those who are not working at all, well, how do I break in as an analyst? So let's look at that a little bit closer and what that looks like. Now, Here are some roles, by the way. I want to go over these really quickly before I go into that. These are some of the job titles that you guys can look up. So if you are on a job board and you're looking at going into your specific level, because many of you are at different levels, these are some of the corresponding job titles that you can utilize to look for AML related roles in different industries, okay? And just for your information, down at the very bottom below the slides here, you're going to see files, and you'll see any money laundering career, the PDF here. And if you download that, that'll be the slides that you're looking at right now. So you don't have to feel like you have to write everything out or screenshot everything. You can literally click onto that document and then click download files, and that'll download it right to your computer. So if you want to do anything or take any notes, you can do it on there. Or I think all of the live links will be on there for any links that you see throughout this presentation as well. Okay, so again, these are some of the job titles that you guys can look into. And of course, you always want to look at the job description. So I was talking about getting started. If you're not in field, or maybe you're not working right now, well, how do I break into this career as an AML? Well, one of the things that you want to do is make sure that your skills are going to be aligned with that position. Okay, so some of the things that they're very interested in, obviously, are going to be your investigative skills. A lot of the things that you guys are learning in your degree program, and then there are the other skills that you need to have a strong affinity for, or just strong skill set in Microsoft Office. Particularly Excel and Access, because this is an analyst role. You need to be able to look at data and be able to manipulate data and find variances and discrepancies in data, correct? So these are going to be vital to your job as an AML analyst. So if you don't know these two programs, then you definitely want to get to know them, and on a higher level than you would if you were in any type of role. So this includes things like pivot tables and conditional formatting, and then SQL queries, SQL for big data extracts. And so if these things sound like what? You might think, oh, I'm not sure about this. Don't be afraid of that, okay? You're in school right now. You're learning some things right now. I think maybe on the accounting side of things, you guys are probably diving a lot deeper into this than the people in the criminal justice side of things. Either way, wherever you are on the spectrum, one of the things that you can do is go to YouTube. Okay, I know this is really strange, but if you go to YouTube, you can literally search for any type of training. So if you don't have the time or the resources to pay for some more schooling, this is a great thing that you can do, especially if you already have the programs on your system. I happened to pull up the one for 2016, How to Do Conditional Formatting in Excel 2016. So these are some videos that came up as a result. And as you can see, there are 278,000 videos that you can tap into. What I recommend you do is start practicing that stuff. You can also Google up date. You can Google this information as well, where you can maybe get some dummy spreadsheets and dummy data to play with. And so go in and look at this and start to practice these tutorials. You can also do this for pivot tables. You can do this for how to use Access and how to utilize Access with Excel, whatever it is that you need. But these are some of the things that you're going to need to know and have on your resume and be able to walk into that job with. It's critical. And then how to do the SQL queries. Maybe that sounds foreign to you right now, but if you get into here and you be self-taught, because you're already getting the degree, but the degree is never going to be enough. You're always going to have additional skill sets that are going to position you to get into that role, because once you're sitting in that desk as an AML analyst, you're going to be given information and you're going to be expected to perform at a high level. And so make sure that you're able to do so. Brush up on that stuff while you guys are finishing up, maybe over the weekend. If you get an extra hour, and I know it's hard because you're studying and you're probably working and you probably have families. So, but fit it in because it's so worth it. If you think about this, if you say, okay, I'm going to take 1 month to master conditional formatting, and I'll take another month to master utilizing utilizing Access and then utilizing it with Excel, and another month to master SQL queries. Do it, because these are things then you can add to your resume. So in addition to your degree, now you come with additional skill sets that are also going to make you a strong candidate. Because if you think about it, if your competition is not articulating that they have these skills, and you know, because of this presentation, because we've spoken with these AML professionals, what is needed in that job, if you have those skill sets, you're going to position yourself as a stronger candidate than someone who doesn't have those skills or has not articulated them on their resume. Okay, so again, filling your skill gaps while you're completing your degree. And these are specifically the skill gaps that you want to fill in prior to applying for an AML job, okay? Um, in some cases, if it's entry level, they may, again, this is strictly for you to be a competitor or a key candidate, okay? You want to be that person, but it doesn't mean they won't hire you. Perhaps they will hire you if you have Excel and you know enough. Maybe there will be some on-the-job training. But understand, I am a former recruiter, by the way. It is better to have that information and have that skill set and be able to go in with that into an interview with that skill set under your belt than it is to go in and say, no, I don't know it, but I can learn it. It's good and it's admirable to say that, but especially for those of you who are already working in your professional, you don't want to make yourself a novice, even if you're finishing up your master's degree. A lot of people who are finishing their master's make the mistake of starting their resume with recent grad. You're not a recent grad. You've been working in your profession for 5, 10 years. That master's degree that you're getting after being a an accountant, that master's degree is basically an enhancement to who you are professionally. It doesn't define you. It only enhances you. So do these skills, okay? So not only do you want to have the skills, but there are some other things that you want to do to get started as well. The next thing that you want to do now that you have you understand what skills are going to be required of you, you want to be able to connect with individuals who work within your industry. We always talk about networking here at SNHU. So if you guys get a chance, definitely go out to our website. And take a look at that, because we have so many different webinars that we've talked about professional networking and the hidden job market. And one of the things that I want to talk to you specifically about is the professional associations with regards to networking, as well as getting the certifications so that you are able to have that distinction as well. So yes, you have the degree. Yes, you have the core competencies in terms of the day-to-day task and technology, but you also are a subject matter expert. When you belong to a professional association, you position yourself to become an SME in your field. Okay. And if you are in accounting or forensic accounting, criminal justice, whatever your degree program is, when you go and you get a distinction such as a certification in AML, then what you're saying is, I know my job. There's no doubt. I understand the industry. I understand the trends. I understand new technology involved in our industry. I understand our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, our threats. I am the quintessential candidate for you, and you want to hire me. And so imagine if you guys don't have these things already on your resume, imagine having them. Now, with all that said, there's two things that obviously a lot of people think about when they think about professional associations is number one, okay, that's just more money going out of my pocket. I have to pay to belong to a professional association. But guys, as students, you guys actually can join a professional association for the fraction of the cost that it would be to have a professional membership. And I think that there are some limitations in what you can do, maybe not have voting privileges or something like that. However, you can still attend their meetings. You can still get to know people who work in the field, because a lot of people who belong to professional associations are typically people who are extremely serious about advancing their careers in positioning themselves as subject matter experts or they're already working in management or leadership roles within their organizations and could be those compliance officers that we talked about that affect policy. A lot of times, a lot of that is coming from within the industry leadership, and many industry leaders belong to professional associations. So when you guys go out and when you guys, for those of you who have not been on LinkedIn, sometimes you might see someone's name and it has all these letters after it. I'm just going to pick on somebody. Stephen Jacobson, CAMS, comma CFCI, comma CFE, comma MBA, so or CPA. So what that does is, I see Stephen is typing in the box now. But what that does is that's just telling you what their certifications are. They're subject matter experts. So looking at these are some of the top ones that you guys would want to join and become a part of, and where you can obtain these certifications. If you go to any of these websites, then you'll be able to look into their membership. But the other thing is this: you don't have to join immediately. You can always go to their meetings, audit, just get to know people. If you don't have business cards, go to Vistaprint or something like that. Get some calling cards where you have your name, your phone number, your email address, and what you do, so that when you go to these networking functions within these professional associations, you're able to not only collect business cards, but you're also able to give yours, okay? And I'm going to keep sticking LinkedIn in here because it's going to be critical. A critical component of meeting people face to face is making sure that you have those continuous touch points with those individuals, because you want to build the relationship and you don't want to wait till after you graduate. You want to do it while you're in school. Why? Because by the time you graduate, you want to be able to reach out to that person, especially if they work at an organization that you want to work for, and say, you know what? You've been building this relationship up with this person. You've been going to the meetings for the last 6 to 8 months while you've been finishing up your degree. They know you. You've gotten involved with the committees. You've made yourself visible as a member of their association or even as a person auditing it. You've even been able to speak at these organizational meetings, so people know you now. When you get visibility in front of people who belong to professional associations, and again, a lot of these people are leaders or managers who are on the upward track in their careers. It's good to know these people. Why? Because 70% of the jobs that are filled in this country are filled on the unadvertised job market. You know why? Because when that job becomes vacant or that new position opens up within an organization because the department is expanding, guess who they're talking to? They're talking to their buddies who belong to the Association of Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialists, or they're talking to their buddies over at International Association of Financial Crimes Investigation. They're talking to their buddies, people that they know. Okay, so if you know people who work within these different organizations, and you're going to be top of mind, especially if you're presenting yourself as bright, you're contributing to the organization, and maybe you just like you're the student membership person. Maybe you start to head up that. Find a way to be involved in these organizations, and if you join as a student member, that can be very powerful for you. If you volunteer to be that person who heads up the committee for student membership, it's showing initiative. You're getting to show yourself, your personality. You're getting to show your reliability. When people ask you questions, you're asking questions, and people are asking you questions. So tell me what it is that you do, Janine. I noticed that you've been here a lot at our meetings. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And so this is Janine's opportunity to say, hey, I'm finishing up my degree at SNHU, and I have been working in, let's say, compliance at my bank for the past 5 years. I am looking to getting into AML. I want to take the certification course for CAMS, and so that's why I'm a part of this, because I really want to take my career down that track. Well, now that person can potentially become Janine's mentor, If something opens up in her organization, then that Janine is qualified for, then Janine's going to be top of mind because guess what? She's going to remember her. Janine's going to be building up that relationship. Janine's going to connect with her on LinkedIn. So when she's not at the meeting once a month, she's sending an article out every once in a while. Or maybe she's just pinging that person, remembering it was their birthday. Or maybe they had a conversation at the meeting and the child went to the Super Bowl for little kids. And so Janine's just coming in saying, hey, how did the Super Bowl for little kids go? Just building up that relationship, okay? So professional associations are going to be very important for two things. Number one, for that networking aspect. Number two, actually three things. Number two, for learning more and becoming a subject matter expert in your field, understanding new legislation, things contributing to new legislation and policy, etc. And then the certification. So not only do you know this information, but now you've tested and you've passed that test and you've gotten that stamp of approval from that organization that states that you are a subject matter expert. So with that said, I talked about the technology that you need to have. Now I've talked about the certifications that you need to have because we're already doing the degree. That's why we're here. But what else do you need? So those are some of the things that you want to look at and that is going to be important to you as you move forward in your degree. One quick note about the International Compliance Association. They have an ICA certificate in compliance, okay? So there is some overlap. I think I saw someone in the chat box. Is the fraud examiner's certification state specific? I do believe that all of these are national organizations, but what you can do is when you get into their website, then it'll be able to tell you. With the national organizations, though, I do want to note that they do have they actually have local chapters. So you can look at the chapter in your area once you get to their website, see if there is a chapter in your area. If not, and I thank you for bringing that up, LinkedIn. Okay, we're about to talk about it. Get on LinkedIn and join that group. Um, Sean Ball says, no, the ACFE is a national program, not to answer for the speaker. Oh, thanks, Sean. No, it's no problem. I don't mind you guys interacting. Please feel free to interact within the group because I know that some of you are working in field and have experience with some of these things. So no, please do feel free to interact, and I appreciate that. All right. So let's go on and let's go to our next one. I don't know why this is bolding like that. I do apologize. But again, to network, expand your knowledge base, and to get certified. Networking leads to those relationships, as I noted before. Establishing that professional relationship can lead to job referrals, and you definitely, it's just such, it positions you so well. The statistics on the importance of networking, and the more you network and get to know people, the more you'll be in a position to have someone refer you to a company. As you can see, referred applicants are much more likely to get hired than people they're not really sure about. Okay. Okay, so let's get to the job search and the networking aspect. So we're going to talk networking first. So many of you were not on LinkedIn, and maybe it's because you don't like social media, and there is some negative connotation around that. However, if you're not going to do any other social media, I strongly and highly suggest LinkedIn, okay? It is a professional it's a professional networking site in social aspect in that you can engage with people who are in your field. You can start to grow your network. You can join groups. So if you guys can see this really good, underneath the the N logo there, you're going to see the word all, and next to that, the word people, jobs, content, companies, groups, and schools. So you're going to build out your profile in here. And the profile basically looks like your resume. So they're going to be different sections, and then you'll be able to fill those sections out. You can control who can see your profile. So for those of you who are not on this social media because you're thinking, it's a little bit too intrusive, I don't know about that. Listen, it is really worth it. A lot of recruiters are utilizing LinkedIn to find their candidates. And in fact, I've been recruited I'm constantly being recruited off of LinkedIn, but I actually got a really great job through LinkedIn. I thought it was a joke. It was several years ago. And one day I had a really bad day at work, and this recruiter reached out to me, and I just thought, this is a joke. Somebody's just playing a joke on me because I work for this company that was under a company called Adecco North America. And um, so the person that was recruiting me worked for, I saw Adecco North America on their profile. So that's one of the great things about this. Whoever's recruiting you, you can go and see who they worked for, right? So if you are trying to break in and you're working for a staffing agency and you talking to some recruiter, you don't know how much experience that recruiter has. You can go look at their profile on LinkedIn. Have they been in their job for a month? Nevertheless, one of the things that I thought it was a joke, and I had a bad day at work and came home and said, okay, let me look a little bit closer at this person's profile. And come to find out, it was not a joke. She was a recruiter for a company out in Oregon, recruiting for a college in Wilmington, North Carolina. And at the time, I lived in Florida. Triangulate that in your mind. This is a powerful tool, so that's why I'm such a evangelist for it. Here, you'll notice that the word groups is underlined. So talk about expanding your network. If you build out your profile here in LinkedIn and you start to look up in that top box next to the logo, you'll see I typed in the word AML or the key term AML. It brought up all of the groups in here that pertain to AML. And so you, once you build out your profile, can start to join those groups, interact and engage with people. Maybe you don't want to start posting stuff right away. Maybe you want to read something, and then after you read something that someone's posted and you agree with it, or maybe you have questions, you can engage that person with those questions alike. You can share something that they've posted if you agree with it. And you can also, for some of these professional associations, I did not put them up in this line here. I just put an AML, but you can also put in those professional associations. Stephen had asked earlier about is it local, state, or national? Well, this is a good way to go in and look up the groups and then start engaging with people who are part of it. Hey, did you take the CLE? I don't really know if I want to do this. Did you get the CAMS? Is this really a good certification? Did this work for you? How did you break in? You can start to talk to people and interact with people. The good thing about that too is that if you trust a person, you build up, not trust because that's a bad word to use in the situation because you don't know the person, but you can start to gain trust. You can look at their background. You can look at their references. You can look at anyone who has done referrals for them and posted it in recommendations right onto their page. These are things you can do. This is such a powerful site because if someone Googles you, and by the way, recruiters Google you. When you apply for a job, they're going to Google you because they want to know what's going to pop up because they are looking for your social media. And so you want this because this is your professional brand. And so just like Pepsi or Coke, your brand. And you want to be able to control the messaging of that brand. This is your public relations opportunity for yourself, your professional public relations campaign. And so this is where if they Google you, typically your LinkedIn will come right up top immediately. I hate to put myself out like that, but you guys can Google me if you want to. But it's interesting, and I'll just put my name here because what it does is it helps you control what comes up about you. And yep, my Facebook's probably going to come up and a couple other things, but primarily the professional stuff that I've done. And you can post let's say, for example, if you guys have work that you've done or presentations that you've done, PowerPoints, or maybe you've done videos or anything like that, then you can post those and embed them into your profile. So talk about a portfolio of work. If you are talking about, okay, I worked on this huge project and I was able to do a major presentation to a new client and we brought that client on board. Let's say you work for KPMG or something like that and you were trying to get some major client and you were part of the team that put together the presentation. And so you want to showcase that part of that presentation. You can embed that into your profile. Again, you can control your privacy settings where people can't just see everything. You can tell them you can actually set up what they can see in your profile. So you want it set up enough where people can see your background. If they connect with you, then they can see more of what you have there because only your connections can see so much of it. But it's just such a powerful tool, and I wish I could go more into it. So I'm going to invite each of you to go onto our SNHU Career website and look at that networking using social media and LinkedIn for your professional branding. It is such a powerful tool. So we talked about the technological skills that you'll need for AML. We talked about some of the certifications that you'll need, how to connect with people through a professional association, how to build up your skill sets in terms of understanding the AML industry, and then networking. So let's talk about the job search now. All right. So one of the things that I was able to find was a job, and y'all are probably going to go click on this really quickly. This is job here that I'm about to put into the chat box. If you guys like to click on that right now, I'm going to talk about this. So ACAMS is one of the associations that brothers, you Googled my name and my brother's doctorate research came up because one of his coworkers' name is Janine. I love it, Janine. But you see how powerful that is? Janine, if you had a LinkedIn account, you would come up first. And please don't put in there you do already. You should if you don't have one. But if you guys click on this particular job, what you're going to see is it is posted by one of the associations that I talked about earlier today. And so that's another thing about these professional associations. They oftentimes, again, these are leaders in their organizations. And so they're letting people know, hey, these jobs are out here. And they're posting the jobs on their professional association sites. This actually is an AML entry-level role. It's an AML analyst. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This is a position that is remote. It is a telecommute position. Um, you do not have to be in New York. You may telecommute for this position from anywhere in the lower 48 states. Okay, I need to get a temperature check in the chat box here. Is that amazing or what? This was found on a professional association website that you would be able to enter into this position and work from home, essentially, if you work in any of the 48 states. I just think that's fabulous. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. Not only that, but have you all clicked over into that? If you can give me just a quick answer in the chat box, and then I'll let you know when I pop back in here. Excellent. So let's go through this together, okay? So this is a company called Bitcoin. They're booming and they're going mainstream, is what it says here. Where's my degree, my dream job? I'm sorry, Janine. All right. So they're a small but busy Bitcoin ATM operator, currently conduct about 1,000 transactions per day through a network for 4 dozen kiosks located in New York City. Again, you don't even have to live there, anywhere in the lower 48. The position shall report directly to the chief AML officer of the company. Talk about amazing. They're registered with the with the Federal Financial Crimes Enforcement Network as money services businesses, and have applied for New York's so-called BIT license. The position's major responsibilities shall include daily transactional monitoring, ensuring customers are not engaging in criminal activity and/or violating the company's terms of service, flagging transactional activities, suspicious or otherwise, for review by the chief AML officer that might warrant reporting to a governmental agency, etc. It's only a few things. This is not a long job description whatsoever. And what I love about this job is that it was only posted 2 days ago. So if you are interested, I strongly suggest, as a former recruiter, that you get your resume and your cover letter and apply for this job by Friday at the latest, okay? You can wait till next week. You can do it over the weekend and try to get it by Monday, but I always recommend that you try to apply for jobs within 5 business days of their posting, okay? The reason why is because your competition isn't waiting, and because your competition apparently resides in the lower 48 states, you want to get on top of it. Now, with all of that said, for those of you who are already working in field, if you have any of these experiences, go ahead and make sure that they are added into your resume, okay? Run your resume through this tool that I am about to put into the job, to this box down here. It is called JobScan. I did that wrong. It's www.jobscan.co. Okay, not .com, .co. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this job description, you're going to put it on one side, and you're going to put your resume on the other side. It's going to scan your resume for keywords that align with this job description. And if there are any keywords in that report that have a red X, that means that you need to add those words to your resume so that you can rank higher in the company's ATS, okay? That's Applicant Tracking System. And what that's going to do is if 100 people apply for this job and you've taken the time to add in the keywords that were missing from your resume, you will improve your chances of ranking higher in their ATS. Because on the side of the recruiter, what happens is you have two lines of defense before you get to the hiring manager's desk. You have the computer and you have the recruiter. So you need to get through the computer. So imagine this. When you apply for this job online, and let's say 100 other people apply for this job too, all of you are going to come into that company's ATS. And so that recruiter is going to be able to look at their system and say, who's applied for my job? They're going to have a list of candidates. And those candidates are going to be listed not by the day that they applied, but by who is the closest match to the job based upon the keywords in their resume. Okay, so that's why you want to go to this jobscan.co. You want to take this job description, and you'll see what I mean. You're going to put it in the pane that says paste your job description, and you're going to put your resume, and you're going to put it in the other one, and then you're going to scan your resume, and you're going to add those keywords. Now, with all that said, we are here to assist you with all of this. So if you need help, don't hesitate to give us a call, okay? I'm going to put our phone number 872-1458. That is our phone number. You reach out to us and we will connect you with a dedicated career advisor who can help you work through this entire process and get your resume ready for this job that you are looking at. So let's go ahead and get back to the presentation if you guys want to jump back into the environment. All right. So the job search. You can also go on LinkedIn for job searches. So go onto those professional association sites, go onto LinkedIn. So here you'll see that the interface looks very similar at the top. You have the N symbol. Below you have the same tabs, the all, people, and then instead of groups, now we're in jobs, okay? So when you get in here, you're going to click in jobs, and then you're going to put in the title, and you're going to come up with a bunch of different jobs. And the good thing about applying on here is that sometimes you can submit your very profile to the position. And other times you can apply directly to that company. So you want to kind of follow that same procedure of JobScan, utilizing that for every single job that you apply for. If you haven't been getting called and you've been sending that same resume out for every job, it could be because you're not taking the time to customize that resume to the job that you're applying for. People are seeing results, so I hope that you guys will take that. The other thing that you can do is go onto our website. So this is our career website. And in the chat box, how many of you guys have been on our website before? I just got quiet so I could read. Okay. All right. So I'm going to actually put a you guys have to log into the MySNU, okay? I'm going to put a direct link to it. You might have to log on with your SNHU credentials, but when you get in there, you can go and search for jobs. As you can see over on the left-hand side here, you have different things that you can do here within here, and search for jobs is the very last one shown on the screen here. It's not actually the last menu item, but you can click there, and then in the center, you'll see SNHU Recruit. We have our own job board. And remember the business development specialist that I told you about? All of their employer partners post their positions on our internal job board. So if you're not going there, you may want to. It might pay off for you. Okay. So LinkedIn, going to the professional association. So even if for those of you who want to go into forensic accounting, go into those professional association sites as well. This all works the same. It's a transferable methodology for the job search. I do want to encourage you guys, don't weed yourself out of opportunities. Make sure that you are updating your resume and writing an effective cover letter. Contact us if you need that. And go ahead and apply in a timely manner. Try to do so within 5 business days because you don't want to do all that work putting together that resume, that cover letter, and applying online. That could take about an hour per job. And you don't want to spend all that time on a job where they're already in first round interviews or worse, they already chose the person that is a part of their association. That person's already just pretty much hired. So build your network, and as you build that network, ask for referrals, okay? Be consistent, and this is how you guys are going to be able to get into those entry-level jobs. For those of you who are more experienced, then you can go ahead and utilize us to help you articulate your value proposition and to get your resume in a position where you not only get through the computer, when the recruiter reads it, they're going to know that you are the right person for the job. And please make sure that your skill sets are up to date. And